Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Welcome to Crisco's Corner podcast. We're in upstate New York in Binghamton, and on with us today is Mike, a returning guest, and we're going to go over some.
Well, hello, everyone.
Hi, Mike. We're going to go over some articles in the media today, and the first one we're going to talk about is. Wait a minute. Is Democratic Congresswoman who sponsored police reform bill carjacked and crime surging in Philadelphia. Hang on, let me do a little sound effect here. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. I'll do a little bit here, then you can jump in and we'll talk about it.
All right.
Congresswoman Mary Gay Scanlon was carjacked in Philly. Now, she is a sitting member of the U.S. Congress, people, and it was around 2:45 in the afternoon. And she thanks the Philadelphia Police Department, blah, blah, blah. She wasn't harmed as while we're laughing. But I'm watching this on the Fox News homepage, and police say Scanlon was approached by two black males aged approximately 20 to 30. That's why the media won't touch it, because it's two black males. And then it goes on to say that she just wanted to have mental health professionals in the cars instead of police, which come in real handy in a shootout. But anyway, I think the whole thing's comical as hell, and I think she's an idiot. And what goes around comes around, but the sad part is she won't get red-pilled from this. She'll keep her same convictions and same nonsense. What do you think?
Yeah, she won't change. I mean, I don't know how she's going to use this for herself politically. It's just like I was reading in the Chicago Sun-Times, the Illinois State Senate Majority Leader was also carjacked out in the suburbs of Chicago. I wonder if she's going to feel the same way.
Yeah.
Evidently, according to the article, that was three guys in a Dodge Dakota SUV that were wearing masks.
Yeah.
But anyways,
her and her husband at gunpoint, I might add.
Yeah, at gunpoint, yeah. And according to the police dispatch, they were confused. They didn't know if she was a victim or not, because who would carjack the assembly leader? I mean, that's just
now. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being these two young black guys, and you take out from the car and you bring it to wherever you're going to bring it, strip it down or resell it, whatever they do with them, and they go through her purse, and she has her U.S. congressional ID.
Oh, that's got to be freaking awesome.
Oh, the one guy's going to go, oh, dude, we're screwed.
Yep. Oh, we're screwed. I mean, well, here's the question. Since she's for reform and everything, is she going to say, well, that's okay, it happens?
Nobody was hurt.
Or is she going to say...
Yeah, nobody was hurt. And she's living with the trauma, she said.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's living with the trauma. Maybe she'll get some therapy, of course. It would be her platinum insurance that'll pay for it, i.e. the taxpayers.
Yes.
But, I mean, that's the crazy part. That really is. But here's the con, though, that I kind of got out of this article when we were talking earlier. She can turn around and say, listen, I don't want to defund the police. I just want to put a mental health professional in the car with the police, which means they'll take a police officer out.
Yes.
Or they'll cut a police officer from the rolls. And so I can see here, mention this scenario. I'm a 911 dispatcher. 911, can I help you? Oh, my God, there's some guy beating the crap out of some woman. He just put her through the front window of the store. Can you tell me if he has any mental health issues? And the guy's going to go, what the hell are you talking about? He's beating the shit out of her. Come on. And that's the way it's going to go.
It's like this, and it really amazes me how the left thinks. Because think about it, if you go to a psychologist or a therapist or whatever, they're not going to try to diagnose you over the phone or tell you what kind of problems you have over the phone. But, they want 911 dispatchers to try to figure out if they need a police officer or a mental health professional at a scene. How do you do that over the phone? That's extremely dangerous.
Well, yeah, no, it's part of the con, because they can turn around and say, listen, we didn't cut the police budget. We just cut the number of officers because we're concerned because, some people just can't make it on their own, and they have some mental health issues, and they just need our help. And so that's the con. But the reality of it is they really think, F the police. let's cut them as much as we can, but we can't do that because some people won't vote for us, so let's run this con instead.
That's right. Well, the interesting thing about that is my family. My father was a aide at the Binghamton Psychiatric Center, and my uncle was actually a social worker. And if they were alive now, they would be able to tell you that, listen, you can't send a social worker into a hot situation, not knowing anything about what's going on inside the house. It's way too dangerous.
But Mike, it's just a domestic squabble. And people of color have just been stigmatized so badly by uniformed police. Having a concerned and really, really professional mental health professional will certainly smooth that situation over. And here's the funny part. The number one situation where police are shot or injured are domestic squabbles.
Yep. And, another interesting point is my father back in the early 80s, he retired in 83. My mom and I had to go to the hospital because he was attacked by a patient at the psych center. And the only reason why he lived is his denture, because the guy tried driving a fork into his head, and his denture stopped him after it went into his mouth.
Now, your dad was white, so he had white privilege, so he's out.
Yeah, he had white privilege, so, evidently it wasn't a denture, it was white privilege.
Now, was it a person of color that was the patient?
I honestly don't know.
I'm in a good sarcastic mood today. I don't know why. But
yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, so I thought that was really interesting. But I saw another article. Let me go back here. And of course I'll edit this part out while we're looking, but it's from the big shot there, financial guy on Fox. Oh, Mitch McConnell has a message for Manchin. Who cares about what Mitch McConnell wants? Where is it here? Did they take it off already? Maybe it's just farther down the list. Oh, by the way, Dr. Fauci wants Jesse Waters fired immediately.
Oh, yeah? Why is that?
Well, because he went to, I don't know if it's the Young Americans for Freedom, YAF, or one of those organizations, and did a speech. And, of course, he was being hyperbolic. And he says, everybody start harassing him like the liberals do everybody else. And take one shot, we'll take him out, that kind of thing. But, he obviously knows that he didn't mean literally a shot. And he's asking, and Fox said, no. But here's the other thing, though. I'm a little upset with Fox right now. They're in now, when they had the mandates for shots for above 100 employees, the first day, the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro sued. In fact, they think the Shapiro case, they're pretty sure that case is going to go to the Supreme Court, and that would be cool. Now,
yeah, it would be cool.
Fox has mandatory shots now for their people in New York because they said it's not our fault. It's the city of New York is saying, no, F you. We got a whole building full of lawyers. We'll fight you. They caved.
Yeah, that is interesting.
But I'm looking at an article here on Fox from Larry Kudlow, the finance guy on Fox.
Right.
And it reads, Kudlow, Republicans are on the verge of historic midterm gains. Make the Trump tax cut permanent. Now, here it is. Save America. Kill the bill. And tonight I'm launching a new mantra. Kill any new bills that may come next year, period. He's talking about America First agenda, and he has some interesting stats here I think is worth talking about. It says now on a much happier note, today's the 4th anniversary of the signing of the Trump tax cuts, which automatically screws it for the left because they had anything to have to do with Trump they don't like, which occurred on this day 4 years ago in 2017. Here's a look at the $3.2 trillion tax cuts for Americans, including the doubling of the standard deduction and the doubling of the child tax credit. This is just for people that actually work. Now, the original plan that Manchin said no to was going to give extra money in the child tax credit to people on welfare who don't pay any taxes at all.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I remember when I sold my store in April, because those of you listening, I was in a low-income area, and they were talking about that, where if you just had a kid, and of course they know what they just put it right on your card. You don't even have a bank account, and they'll put that money right on your card for every kid you have, whether you work or not. And people were saying, oh, wait a minute now, this is for taxpayers only, and the Democrats had a fit. It said the average family of four earning $75,000, that's husband and wife, with kids, was $2,000 savings. Typical family saved $2,000. He says this is the most important pro-growth policy in the last 100 years. I equate that with the historic Reagan cuts in the 80s, the JFK cuts in the 60s, which people forgot about, and then the big one. None of us were born. With the Harding-Coolidge-Mellon. Now, those of you that are wondering why it's three names, Harding was the president. He died in office. Calvin Coolidge took over as vice president. Mellon was a huge, huge anti-federal tax guy. In fact, I think he was actually in the cabinet of Coolidge, if I'm not mistaken. He was a Treasury Secretary, I believe. And he thought that the federal income tax was unconstitutional. That's how much this guy hated it. He was a multi-gazillionaire at the time by their standards. And they put huge tax cuts. All three of those things had one thing in common after. A huge prosperity wave.
Well, imagine that. You cut regulations and taxes, and all of a sudden there's prosperity. Imagine that.
No, that's where Trump screwed up. He should have said, listen, I want the tax cut, and I want cuts in spending. So I guess he made the compromise. I mean, he was new. I'll give him that. I'll give him that.
Well, we'll see what will happen in the future, I guess.
Yeah, that's just somebody trying to call, and I'm going to let it go. I'll call her back later. But, yeah, and it shows some facts here. Let's read some of them here. There was some tax benefits for the rich, to be sure. But the blue-collar, middle-class, and lower-class income brackets had a much bigger benefits than the high-income earners. The average family incomes rose by a record pace. Unemployment sucked to a 50-year low, with the biggest beneficiaries being African Americans, Hispanic, and women. Poverty plunged, and so did inequality. And they will go against it.
And it tells you how much they fact check everything, and they run on emotions, and that's really the problem.
Oh no, I believe they believe all those things are true. I mean, the ones that are in charge. I mean, they're not all stupid. They're not all called members, but they don't care.
Right.
Because here's the deal: if these people, like they say, get all the benefits, and they see Republicans did it, they won't need the Democrats anymore, and they can't have it.
That's true.
They need the issue. Well, we talked about that one time when the local city council member.
Yeah.
I said she doesn't want to solve
the issue.
She doesn't want to solve the issue. She needs the issue.
Yeah. If you fix everything and everything's taken care of, and there's nothing to cry about anymore.
And also what Cudlow points out in this article is it was huge gains in GDP. It was just unbelievable. But at the same time, it was a weird mix of no inflation per se. That very rarely happens. Usually you get a little bit of inflation. We got the best of both worlds, and they screwed that up.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Yes, they did. But they hated Trump, and that's all that mattered.
Well, yeah, here's the paragraph he wrote. The big government socialists never can see the actual facts. They lie a lot. It's because they suffer from Trump derangement syndrome when they want to reverse everything he even did, though his many achievements spurred prosperity at home and strengthened abroad. President Trump aimed at economic populism, and they hated him for it.
Yep.
Absolutely hated him.
Could you imagine if he would have went 8 years? Oh, my God.
Well,
this country would have been.
Yeah, but the problem is, though, the first 2 years would have been Democrats like they are now. Well, no, we'll take that back. I mean, yeah, we would have had 2 years just like before, but in reversed. And the Democrats would have stopped every single thing he did.
Yep, that's true.
And so he would have only had the last 2 years, which I guess is better than nothing, but But I wish he
wait
stopped
till the
calling it.
midterms.
Yeah, I wish he stopped calling the Trump economic agenda, because just the word Trump just triggers so many people.